The Voices of Women and Girls with Disabilities in Ghana, VOWAC Ghana, presents Unseen Voices, Accelerating Action for Ghanaian Women with Disabilities, a documentary on the challenges facing women and girls with disabilities in Ghana.
Ghana, a nation striving for progress, a tapestry woven with the dreams and aspirations of its people. But for Ghanaian women with disabilities, the promise of equality often remains out of reach, their voices unheard, their potential untapped. International Women's Day 2025, a global call to accelerate action for gender equality. Yet, how can we truly celebrate the achievements of women worldwide when the voices of Ghanaian women with disabilities facing unique and profound challenges are still struggling to be heard, struggling for a seat at the table of power?
We have 27% of the current government's appointees being women, but we don't have a single woman with disability in it.
Beatrice Ekwia Mahmood, Economic Empowerment Program Officer, Sight Savers Ghana, speaking.
The few that are very assertive and are able to manipulate or sail through the corridors are able to get some positions. But people like women with disabilities that will even require confidence building, capacity building, because due to the low confidence level of women with disabilities, because of course society have excluded us, and some of us, because of lack of opportunity, lack of capacities, have also accepted our situation, have limited our confidence level such that we think that when we participate in this, the showering of insults, the derogatory remarks and the like, therefore we decide to always stay behind. We need to consciously target them. We need to be intentional about their participation. We need to ensure their reasonable accommodation to participation. And there's the need to also ensure some affirmative measures in terms of appointments of people into leadership, some positions reserved for women with disabilities, so that we can harness their unique experiences and expertise into developing the country. And also development partners and organizations led by women with disabilities need to ensure capacities of women with disabilities in leadership and political participation, so that we can also harness, even though very limited opportunities, to get into politics and positions of trust and responsibility.
The silence surrounding gender-based violence is deafening. But for women with disabilities, this silence is compounded by vulnerability. They are often targeted, their disabilities used against them, their cries for help ignored.
Me a 2 times road accident victim. I'm
a 2-time road accident victim, resulting in my disability.
Genevieve Amako James' story voiced by Sandra Te.
A few months after the second accident, my husband's attitude changed completely toward me. He later started an affair with another woman from our community. He didn't even try to hide it from me. He would bring her to our bedroom while I slept in the hall. He mostly subjected me to sexual abuse despite my physical pain, even though I didn't intend to deny him intimacy. He violently raped me as if I was resisting him. He even attempted to suffocate me with a pillow twice but didn't succeed.
People still assume that women with disabilities do not have the right to speak when someone violates them, either sexually, verbally, or emotionally.
Juliana Ekwia Mahmood, Executive Director, VOWAC Ghana, speaking.
There was a case where a woman went to make a complaint of her husband beating her, and then the law enforcement agencies told her that she's even lucky that she has gotten somebody to marry her. If they take the issue on, the man will divorce her, and then that will be the end of it. So these perceptions that women with disabilities are supposed to endure whatever challenges they face prevent them from reporting. And most of the people who abuse them or who violate their rights are their caregivers. And so they find it difficult to report because they feel that the kind of assistance the person was rendering to her would come to a standstill. When the woman is being violated sexually and then she goes to doctor to make a complaint, now the cost involved is so high. Sometimes it ranges from 500 cedis upwards. And most of these women are not working and therefore cannot afford it. So when it happens that way, then they leave the case because they are not able to do the medical examination, which will serve as evidence to back their cases. So these are some of the unique challenges that women with disabilities encounter when reporting issues on gender-based violence. Officials in charge of justice should be trained on disability inclusion and the unique needs of the diverse impairment groups, so that when a lady with any form of impairment suffers abuse or violence in any form and then comes to report, their unique needs would be addressed without any barriers. And then legal aid services should also be made available to ensure that women with disabilities who face violence have access to legal practitioners who would support them to seek justice, and then the medical costs involved and even the court charges, so that their cases can be addressed.
Knowledge is power, but for women with disabilities, access to even basic information about their sexual and reproductive health is often denied.
Looking at young girls who will have to start menstruating and all that, most persons without disabilities, they will tell you they get to learn about menstrual health from pieces of papers that were given to them. How is the student or the young girl who is blind able to access this information just like the ordinary young person would?
Patience Atipoka Atua, Programs Manager, VOAC Ghana, speaking.
How near is the service from the person? I remember I have 3 children, and there's a medical center just around me that everybody goes to. But I couldn't go there because of my condition. I need a specialized service. So I have to travel a whole distance to the bigger hospital to go for antenatal, and that is very costly. And then we are looking at information. So how are women with disabilities able to even access information about these services? Additionally, are they sensitive to the needs of the woman with a disability? I remember when I was pregnant with my second child, I think somewhere in my 7th month, I fell down and I had pains in my pelvis. So I went to the doctor and I told him that because of the pains, I can't get onto the examination bed. And he was like, so how did you manage to get yourself pregnant? How well do they even know the unique needs of these women to be able to attend to them? So that you don't hear remarks like, who got you pregnant? Why are you even having sex in the first place? Or generally health professionals even shying away from giving you services. So these are basically some of the challenges that we face. So in terms of policy, I think we have very beautiful policies already in existence. What we need to do is to review these policies to ensure that they reflect the unique needs of women with disabilities, so that we are equally captured. Because if we say make a whole new policy, usually when it happens that way, implementation becomes a problem. But let's rather have them in the mainstream policies, so that as we are implementing to benefit everybody, patients sitting here are equally benefit because mine is equally included there. So what we just need to do is to revisit them and ensure that the needs of women and girls with disabilities are equally included in them.
Economic independence is key to empowerment, and Madam Beatrice Equia Mahmood is testament to the talent, drive, and resilience of women with disabilities in Ghana. But the path to employment is often fraught with obstacles, discrimination, inaccessible workplaces, and a lack of supportive policies.
Most women with disabilities are not highly educated, and therefore they are not able to acquire formal jobs. Persons with disabilities are seen as those that needs to be staying at home, then people providing arms for them or supporting them. So they are seen as those who cannot work. And then another challenge is also that workplaces are not accessible for these women. So you realize that there's an office which is at the fourth floor of the building. There are no ramps there are no lifts there to enable this woman who is a wheelchair user to have access to the building. And then when it comes to the informal sector too, you realize that most of these women do not have startup capitals to set up their own businesses. And when they go to seek for financial support from the credit facilities or the banks, they see them as people who are unproductive, so they cannot work to repay the loans.
We are urging Ghanaians to remove the intersecting barriers, and we would gladly contribute our quota to the development of the country. For instance, I have gone through the struggles, and thanks to some individuals, I'm now working. And as I'm working every month, I contribute to the development of the country through the taxes I pay. And because I'm working, I'm able to meet the disability extra cost. And so my situation will not be too alarming as compared to a woman who is unemployed, who has no skill, and is also taking care of a child with cerebral palsy.
Climate change is a global crisis, but its impacts are not felt equally. Ghanaian women with disabilities are among the most vulnerable, facing heightened risks during extreme weather events due to limited mobility, lack of accessible information, and inadequate support networks.
Because of climate change, the weather is hotter now. So when we go out without sun protective lotions or protective wear, it makes us feel the impact of the sun rays more, and it leads to a lot of discomforts such as sunburns and in some cases skin disorders like cancer. There are sunscreens or there are lotions that have the protection for our skin.
Zainab Adams, Administrative Assistant, Ghana Association of Persons with Albinism, speaking.
It is not easily accessible to us. Sometimes an NGO would donate some to the organization, that is Ghana Association of Persons Living with Albinism, and then they would share it amongst us. And it doesn't come frequently. So sometimes when you get one, it takes a long time before you get another. And most of us, our livelihoods are not that great for us to say that we are buying it ourselves. And most of us do work in the sun, because some of us sell foodstuffs, some of us do all sorts of things that leave you at the mercy of the weather. So I think that they could add sunscreen to the National Health Insurance drug list to make it easily accessible to us, because in a way it helps.
So we need to even enhance the capacities of duty bearers within the climate change space. For instance, if there's disaster, how are they prepared also in terms of the reasonable accommodation needs of women with disabilities? You go with release items. Do you also go with white skins, wheelchairs, hearing aids, sign language interpreters, sun cream products? These are very critical. Or provide for alternative care for people, women with disabilities and people with disabilities in terms of climate change adaptation and also in our daily living.
Unseen Voices is a call for change, a call to accelerate action and ensure that Ghanaian women with disabilities are no longer invisible, no longer marginalized, but are empowered to fully participate in shaping their own lives and the future of their nation. It is a call for systemic shifts that recognize their rights, value their contributions, and create a truly inclusive Ghana where every voice is heard and every life has value. The voice of women and children with disabilities in Ghana, VOWAC Ghana, the leading advocate for the rights of women and children with disabilities, is calling for collaboration and support to champion their crucial work in creating a more inclusive and equitable society. To learn more about VOWAC Ghana and how you can get involved, please visit www.vowac.org. wacghana.org or contact 0553 451 276 or 0542 436 834.
This documentary is produced by Adonai Studios for VOWAC Ghana with funding support from the African Women Development Fund.